Alright, I just wanted to make a quick video to show how I make my intake breathing strip refills. So, this is my little carrying case that I use for all my intake strips. This is great because I can use it to travel. I know they sell an official one from the intake store and on Amazon and stuff, but I find that this holds a little bit more and is a little more versatile for me. This is just a little case that I got from Target for a couple of bucks in that little like $5 section when you first go in there. This is really nice because when I got it, it had 6 compartments, but I just kind of cut out the divider on this side so that I could fit the bridge in there. And then it gives me all these little compartments to play with, so I can keep my little magnet guy here. And then when I'm done with my strips in the morning, I pull out the little metal discs and I throw them in here so I can reuse them. So that's going to be something you'll need, is either these are the a little fuzz stuck there. These are the little OEM metal discs that come with the intake refill strips when you purchase those, or when you buy your introductory kit. That's what's inside of the strips. That's what actually sticks to the magnets inside of this guy here. So you're going to need either those, or what you can also do, and this is a good tip thanks to some people on Reddit, namely I'll shout out Garrett7861 and Notda004 for these tips. These are little washers. These are M4 carbon steel washers, and these ones happen to be, I believe, 9mm outer diameter. And you can see that when you compare them to the little stock discs, they're pretty similar in size. Now, the main difference you'll see here is the stock discs kind of have this rounded, sort of cupped shape to them, whereas obviously these washers are going to be totally flat. So as a result, if you notice on the actual intake strips, it has 2 magnets that are sort of cantilever from each other, kind of tilted from each other like that. And that means when you put on the stock strip, it nestles really nicely into that little sort of angle that's created there. And obviously this one's flat, so when it sticks to the magnets, it's going to kind of rest flat like that. I don't know if you can see in the video, but it rests kind of flat across the magnets, whereas this one kind of sits more nicely tucked in there. Now, I haven't really noticed a huge difference using either or. This is attracted to the magnet strongly enough to where it's not going to come off in the night, but just keep that in mind. These washers don't quite nestle into the bridge itself as nicely as the OEM ones do, but I have yet to find this part online. I was looking to see if maybe it was like a generic thing you could find, and I haven't had any luck. So when I bought my kit, I just bought the kit that came with a 30-day supply, and I just retained them all, and I just reuse them. So I have enough basically to get through a month, but then I can also just make a bunch more using these as well, which is nice to have a bigger supply. And I'll put a link in the description to all the supplies that I'm using here for this video, especially these washers, which were a little tricky to track down. But once you know what to look for, you can find them on Amazon. So, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to make a couple of each so you can kind of see that the process is really the same, but you can kind of see how it looks a little different when you do it with the washers versus these guys here. So, that's the first thing you'll need, is you'll need those that actually go inside of the strip that make it work. You will also need 3M micropore tape. This is a 1-inch roll, so the width of that is 1 inch. You can get it in packs like this on Amazon, so you can get a better deal on it, and it'll last you a long time. So you need that tape. And then this is the secret ingredient right here that I've found. This is Topstick men's grooming tape, and this is actually used for wigs and hair pieces and things like that to allow those to stick to your head. So these are pretty sticky. Some other people have recommended some different kind of clothing tapes, double-sided clothing tapes and things like that, and those might work for you, but I've found that this tends to stick a lot better, stays on the whole night. I haven't had any of them come off in the night, whereas when you're using the clothing tape, you might have issues with them coming off, and if it comes off, it kind of defeats the whole purpose. So I really recommend this. You can get it in a box like this. You can also get it in a roll, but the box comes with the strips cut to a 3-inch length already. So that really makes this whole process a lot easier. So I'll take out one of those. Now when we're looking at this, this has a split in the backing. It's got paper on both sides with the double stick tape in the middle. And this white paper on this side actually has a slit down the middle, so you can peel it easily. But we actually can't use that because the way we're going to do this is we're going to be able to get 4 end strips out of this perfectly. But as a result, this line right here is where we're actually going to be cutting. So we're not going to be able to use that split in the backing. So I'm actually going to flip it over, and I'm going to put a split in this backing here, where you can see where they have all the text here. It says Top Stick by Vapon. That's the actual side we're going to use as our backing. And in order to make this whole process easier, or easier to peel rather, I'm going to put a slit in this using a razor. You can use an X-Acto, you can use, I'm going to use this utility knife just because it's what I have. And you just want to be really careful when you do this. I'm using a craft mat here so I don't cut up my tabletop, but you can use a piece of cardboard, whatever you have on hand, or just be careful. But just obviously when you're using sharp stuff, don't cut yourself, be really careful. But what I do is I go in here, and you're going to use kind of medium pressure, and you're just going to do a slit along the whole length of this back here, right down the middle. So I'm going to do that now. Kind of apply medium pressure. And we're going to just slowly try to get this as straight as you can. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's super straight, but you want to make sure it's kind of centered, so that way when we cut these up later, it doesn't get trimmed off when we're doing our trimming. So I put that slit into it. I was careful not to go too hard and go all the way through. But you can see now when I kind of bend this, it kind of separates and opens. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see now this has a slit in it. And that's going to be perfect for when we're applying these. It's going to make it much less frustrating when you're actually going to use these things. So that's pretty much all the prep work you have to do on this guy. Yeah, so now what we can do is we'll flip it over, and I'm going to peel off this white backing, exposing the sticky inside. You can see the slit that I cut there. I'm going to expose that sticky inner side, and I'm going to lay this down on my mat. And basically you can see here, oops. Also, tweezers are super helpful in this for placing your discs on there and for just manipulating things without getting this all stuck to your hands and messing up the adhesives. So you can see I put that slit in the back and you can see it through because the tape is clear. But even if you press a little too hard with your knife and you score this clear tape a little bit, it's not a huge deal because we're going to be putting this micropore tape on top, and that's actually going to hold everything together nicely. So I've got this set down here, and basically what we're going to do is we have a 3-inch strip here, and we're just going to try and space these out evenly. You can measure and mark it if you want to be exact. I just kind of eyeball it though, but we're going to lay these out evenly so that we're able to get 4 refills out of this one strip. And I'm going to do 2 using the washers and 2 using the OEM discs here, just so you can kind of see what it looks like for both. It's the same process for both, but I just want to demonstrate both. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the disc and you're going to kind of just put it, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch or so from the end of the tape. You can see here on the tape, I don't know if you can tell, sorry, I'm kind of filming this in a weird way, but you can see on the edge of the tape here, the sticky tape actually ends about 1/8 inch shy of the edge here. So from that end of the sticky tape, I go over about 1/4 inch and I put it there. And then I'm going to do the same thing from that middle line. You can see there's kind of a crease in the middle from where that split was. I'm going to go over about 1/8 inch from that, or rather about 1/4 inch. Let's see here. Something like that. And you can see basically what you want is you want this distance from the middle and this distance from the side to be about half the distance between the two pieces here. And that'll get your spacing nice and even for when we cut it later. And I'm going to take this little disc, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just kind of center it up, you know, this way as best as I can, while still kind of maintaining that same distance. You can see this spacing here, and then when I put this last one down, all those middle spacings in between the discs are the same, whereas the spacing on the edges is about half that distance. As you can see there. Now we have these all spaced out just how we want them. Oops. See how it stuck to my fingers there? That's why the tweezers are nice. So now we have them laid out how we want. Everything looks good. So now I'm going to take my micropore tape. I'm just going to tear off a piece that's, you know, a little bit longer than this strip. And I'm going to carefully line that up, lay it down, and then I'm just going to press down like this. And I'm just going to kind of just rub all around like you're putting on a screen protector or something like that. You want to get all the air bubbles out so that the sticky layer on the micropore tape and that sticky layer on the double stick tape really adhere to each other and they sandwich those discs in there. Okay, that looks good. And now we're going to trim this down into our final shapes. So I'm going to do this in a couple of different ways so you can see some different ways of doing it. Online, I know on Reddit, some people have recommended these. This is a craft punch for punching out little squares of paper. I believe this one, you know, I'll have to look up the size of this. I believe this one's an 11/16 square punch, which is what some people on Reddit had recommended. But you can get these in different sizes. I might recommend actually a little bit bigger size if you can get it, just because you'll see when I punch out with this, your resulting pieces are going to have a little bit less than the stock strip surface area, meaning that there's going to be less surface area to stick to your skin. And I haven't had an issue with that. I haven't had these size fall off, but if you're worried about them coming off in the night, you might want to make them a little bit bigger so there's just a little more surface area of the actual adhesive on your skin. So you can use that. Also, you can just use plain old scissors. It's really quick and easy, or you can even use just your hobby knife, your craft knife, whatever you have, your utility knife, to just cut them out on your board like this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim off the excess around the edges. Well, you know what, actually first I'm just going to cut this in half, just so I can do two different methods here. Alright, so I'm going to peel this side up, and I'm just going to trim this one up a little bit. I'm going to trim the side off here. And if you're using the punch, you don't even really need to trim this, because with the punch, it's going to, you know, naturally square everything off for you. So I've got that, and then I have these guys here, And one thing to keep in mind is if you're using these OEM circles, these little metal discs, they tend to not want to fit very well inside the punch. This punch has sort of a metal jaw inside of it, and the clearance for that is just about the same as the thickness of this strip. So when you're trying to put it in, it tends to kind of catch, and then if you force it in, it can rip through this micropore tape and kind of mess up your strips. So what I did in order to make this punch work is I took a slotted screwdriver and I just kind of went in between those metal jaws and just ever so slightly applied a little bit of a twist and prying them apart there. Just the slightest amount, because you don't want to mess up the alignment so the punch doesn't work anymore. But you just want to give it a tiny bit of extra clearance, and then your strip should fit nicely in there. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've done that and my punch works, maybe, oh, you see there, it started to separate, so I want to press that together. But maybe some of these punches might vary a little bit with that clearance, and you might not have to do that, but I did, so just a heads up if you're having that problem. Okay, so now I'm going to punch these out. See, I can put it right in there. I just want to center that up as best as I can. And then just punch it out. And then you can use your tweezers to just peel that off there. Okay, and there you have it. So you punched it right out, and there we have a finished piece. So that's what it's going to look like if you use your square punch. If you want to cut it out with scissors, it's even faster. Or I mean, it's pretty much just as fast. It might be faster once you get good with the punch. You can punch them out real quick, but if you want to just use your scissors, I just give it a little trim this way, a little trim this way. This is the problem with the scissors. You have all these little pieces floating around that stick to everything. And then I'm going to trim a little off here and a little off here. And that's what your piece is going to look like if you trim it with your scissors. So for these ones, I'm just going to do the same. I'll punch one out with the punch, just so you can see what it looks like. Center that in there. Punch it out. Oh, let's see. Pull that out. There we go. And then, oh, you see I went a little crooked there, but that's okay. Nothing super critical with these. They don't need to be exact. Cut that. That, and cut that. Trim that a little more. Okay, and there you go. So now we have our finished pieces here, and these are ready to use. Now I'll also show how I recycle these as well. So first off, you can see here it has a split backing. So when you're applying it, that makes it really easy to use your little magnetic applicator. Makes it really easy to peel off that backing. And then they stick on nicely. They stay adhered really well. And yeah, like I said, I haven't had a problem with them falling off. I haven't had any irritation issues, because the good thing about this tape is that it's at least marketed as hypoallergenic, so haven't had any issues there. And they peel off when you want them to come off. Nice and easy. And then when you want to actually reuse the discs, all I do is I'll take it like this in one hand, and I'll use my thumbnail, and I'll kind of catch the edge of that disc like that, and just kind of break that surface of the micropore tape once you have that surface broken, you can kind of just peel it out and twist it and peel it out like that. And there you go. You're good to reuse that. So I think that's it. All in all, it's a pretty simple, painless process to go through to make these. And if you sit down, throw a show on, you can, bang out a couple of hundred of these and not have to do this for a few months. Especially if you have these guys, which is kind of the advantage of these, so you can make a big supply of these. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope I can help you guys save some money on these refills and keep using this, because it is a great product, but it's just, I'd rather not spend $1 a night to use it. And this lets you make a whole ton of these for a lot cheaper. So, yeah, that's it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and have a great day.